Well, good evening and welcome to this edition of the IslandStats.com a football show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me is co-host Garrett Punchy Dill. Well, Punchy, it's been an interesting week of football. Let me just run down the results that we have from thus far from this weekend. It was yesterday at Police Field, Devonshire Colts 4, Young Men's Social Club 0. Last night at the BAA field, it was Dandytown Hornets 4, Paget Lions 1. Up at the PHC Stadium today, it was North Village Rams 3, Wolves 1. And down at Wellington Oval, it was Hamilton Parish 0, Devonshire Cougars 5. In the first division on Wednesday night out at the BAA field, it was Vasco 2, Southampton Rangers 1. At Lords and St. David's yesterday, it was St. David's 2, Boulevard Blazers 2. And up at the Somerset Cricket Club today, it was Somerset Trojans 5, Somerset Eagles 2. Well, Punchy, let's jump into yesterday at Police Field. Devonshire Colts went to the top of the table, albeit for 24 hours with a 4-0 win over Young Men's Social Club. We talked about Social Club's good start to the season, but it looks like it's stuttering now.
Yeah. I think that's what we said. That's what we said about them. We think when the dust settles, and of course, the first game they beat North Village, and North Village still in transition, I call it. But
right.
With Social Club, you look at the fact that, quality. And that result is what we were talking about how long they can sustain this. It's just like, if I always try to relate these results and the teams to, like a team like Nottingham Forest today. Or yes, Social Club is like that. They start off good, but as the game, when it wears on, as the league wears on, the games, they have these games like today. Yeah. Like, it's just that you will see that what we're talking about in terms of quality, the quality of players, the enthusiasm is there, of course. But what would happen is when you lose a team like those type of today, that's where you start seeing that the quality is concerned. It's going to start showing up, Earl. Yeah. And in terms of like, okay, who's the next game? What's next?
Right.
I don't think Social Club is going to be. I think Social Club is going to have to watch out in terms of even relegation.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yes, I do.
They're struggling now. If a couple of other teams get their act together, they could be in a really bad position. I do want to mention that at the bottom of the hour, Dandytown Hornets coach Kyle Lightbourne will be joining us this evening. But let's talk a little bit about Devonshire Colts, because they went undefeated the entire season last year, came up to the Premier Division, and they've had a good start. Because if you look at their record, they've won 4, drawn 1, and lost 1. They have 13 points. Only North Village are ahead of them. PHC are 1 point behind them, but they have a game in hand against St. George's Coast that will be played on Tuesday night. But Ray's got these young guys believing in themselves.
Yeah, he does. I've seen him play twice, and I've seen him play at Police Field. And again, when you go up to play against Devonshire Colts, and I said that last week, when you go to play up against Devonshire, you're going to have to be in a dogfight, and you're going to have to, with them, it's like energizing, and Ray would energize them, right? You know where they are now is not by fault, it's just like what he's doing. Right. And he's really doing a good job right now. But I think also, as the season wears on, will they be able to sustain it away from Police Field?
Right.
Yeah, but that's what I would, because as the second half, after we get past Christmas in January, then we're gonna start seeing, as I say, the dust settles. Is Devonshire Coast gonna be able to sustain it?
Right.
He has a group of young players that are very enthusiastic. When I watch him play, full of energy, They run. You know, there's still a lot of things that are wrong with what I feel the old Devonshire Colts, what we're used to. There's still a lot wrong with them in terms of a lot of players' technical ability. But
Right.
what Ray was able to instill in them is fighting attitude, and they challenge. They work very hard, even to be PHC. So Ray's doing it right. Of course, they're not going to be relegated. Right away, I can tell you, wait now. No, they won't. So
Yeah.
when they start picking up more players, um, I know they're going to be okay. That's what I'm saying about with damage goals. They're going to be fine. They're going to be fine.
Yeah.
The challenge is going to come when they play against the top two teams, North Village, PHC. That's going to be their challenge.
Right.
That's going to be a challenge. And it's also, that's going to really be the challenges. Cougars are slaughtering now. Well, Cougars is still slaughtering. And let me say this. Cougars also you can add into that mix. That's where it's come down. I keep putting, and Denny Ton. So, with Colts, I just think that they haven't played North Village yet. That's for sure. They haven't played North Village yet, right? I think they beat Cougars. So they beat PHC, right? So, and they beat them. Both of those games were played up at Police Field, I do believe. So
maybe.
Yeah. So the point that I'm saying is when you go up there to play against Damage Colts up there with the combative mentality that Ray has instilled with them, it's gonna be a dogfight. It ain't gonna be a pretty football game. What he would like. I still think that field is atrocious. I really do think so. But the point is, you're gonna go up there and play, and you're gonna have to fight for every for 90 minutes. So you got to be ready to play against them up at Police Field. And, it's good for them. It's very good for them.
Yeah, yeah. Well, last night out at BAA Field, Dandytown Hornets put 4 in Paget Lions. I mean, Kyle's now had some time with that team. That we've had the international break. We're gonna, like I said, we're gonna talk to him at the bottom of the hour. But Dandytown, our team, they're aging team, but still young. When I say aging, these guys have been playing for quite some time. When you see the likes of Angelo still playing and scoring, Tamika Goda scored 2 goals last night. But these guys have been around for a while. It's just a matter of them helping the youngsters that are coming through the team to understand what the philosophy of Dandytown is.
Yeah, what I said a couple of weeks ago when I had a conversation with Carl Lightborn about implementing what he wants, his thought process, what he wants to bring to Dandytown. It's just like any coach worldwide, his philosophy, and Carl Lightborn is very knowledgeable.
Yeah,
and then you have Mr. Hayward there.
Drew Hayward.
Yeah. Okay. So I figured it takes a little bit of time to get things what they want to do. And I think that they're going to be a force to reckon with after Christmas. I really do think so.
Yeah, yeah.
And
let's talk a little bit about what you think, your thoughts now with Paget, with Antoine. Now, I mean, things haven't gone their way for quite some time.
Oh, that's I think. Let me tell you what I think that. Listen, Antoine's still learning this game of coaching. Typical when you typically have a conversation with him. He was up to the game today. I would like to have spoken with him, but I don't think he has. When we think about it, right? Remember I told you the rebuilding a community club.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that, right? Do they have quality? They reached the final. They didn't lose that. And this setback is probably what was expected for me in terms of like what does the quality that he has and the mentality there.
Right.
So what Antoine is going to have to struggle with is that the players that he's dealing with. How do you, when he lost that final, how do you get back on track? Okay, I think his main thoughts should be survival, rebuilding. survival, rebuilding, right? Survival, rebuilding, recruiting. And then I think he'll be fine. But he's still learning. He's still learning. Antoine is, like a lot of these young coaches here in now, like Antoine, like the coach at Wolves, right? And we'll talk about that anyway. Having somebody, a knowledgeable person beside you, or having somebody who has your ear all the time and say, listen, this is what you know, senior, somebody who, I don't know if Antoine has that. I don't know if the coach at Wolves has that. But I know I talk to my nephew a lot.
Right.
Patches, right? And that's my son, also assistant coach. So we have conversations about the small things that need to be adjusted. And I think anyway, but I think that's what I think that's not happening at Paget. I think Antoine needs another person who could speak on the football philosophy or what's wrong with Paget.
Right.
And that lost it. Wow. So he's going to be in a dogfight. He's going to be a dogfight. That's going to be Antoine's a problem now. What does he do now? What does he do now?
Yeah. What does he do now?
Exactly.
They're let me just give you where they're at in the standings. I mean, they're in the middle. They got their 7 points. They played 6 games, 1, 2, drawn 1, lost 3. They scored 14 but conceded 16. They've got their 7 points, so they're in the middle of the table. They're 5th right now, on tied with Social Club and now Devonshire Cougars. We'll talk about their game today, but those early points say a lot. But it's making sure that you can get some more points just to make sure you're safe. They're probably I would say another 10 points should help them to feel comfortable in staying up. So we'll have to see how those things materialize for the rest of the season for them, and hopefully Antoine can I know he doesn't really want to play, but it's gonna be a point where he may have to because I think he can help guide them when he's on the field, helping them play as opposed to being on the sideline, trying to help them and guide them. So, we'll see how that materializes over the next few weeks and what happens with Patrick Lions.
The thing is, what we talk about the mentality of the players up at Paget. Once these losses, when it starts happening, right? Things like that, the losses, right? What do you do? What do you do? Do you need to tell your team, are you physically at the conditioning? Do you need to be at this level? Why are you losing?
Right.
Just like Social Club now. We know at Social Club, I said, once this starts happening at Social Club, when the dust settles, you will start seeing they got quality. They have a lot of fight. They have a lot of determination. But there's also, do they have the quality? And I would say a team like Paget, when they have to play a team like North Village, who are not giving up a lot of goals, who are playing, it's going to be difficult for them. Then they play the PHCs. Then Antoine has to look at, so what am I looking at now? Does he sit down and have a sheet and say, listen, we lost today. Let's say we're going to play North Village next week. What do we do? What do we need to have a draw? And you know what it is? That's what it's got to be if you're coaching now. You got to start looking at that and say, who are the teams I need to look at beating away from home or at home and sustain and having a point or drawing with. And that's what he's got to start looking at.
Yeah.
But I still think what I said earlier said, does he have someone that he could talk to bounce off?
Right.
And I think, I don't know if it's there at Paget.
Yeah. Let's take our first commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about that North Village Wolves game at PHC earlier today. We'll be right back.
found the weapons.
You seeing this?
Holidays are busy enough. Why not let Lindo's Drop It take a little off your plate? From St. David's to Somerset, Drop It delivers from Lindo's straight to your door. It's easy, convenient, and leaves you with more time for friends and family. This season, let Lindo's Drop It make holiday shopping as effortless as the holidays should be. Order now and let us handle the rest. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
Beneath the cloud blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tail fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years. It's been clear, the silence, proudly Bermudian. Bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
And welcome back. Well, Punchy, up at PHC North Village, it was their home game, and still the facility at Bernard Park is not ready to welcome football just yet, with the poles still being erected, the lights still being erected. But they went up to PHC and hosted Wolves, knowing that a victory would put them on top of the table, with PHC match on Friday night postponed until Tuesday night against St. George's. Got an early goal, but then things looked a little like they didn't take their chances, and they could have really put Wolves out of the game. But then they did in the second half get those quick goals, and had a fourth one, but it was ruled offside. And then Wolves got to go back. But, overall, the North Village performance would be one that I guess the coaching staff will be looking at to say, okay, we're top of the table. We got through this one, on to the next.
Yeah, very well said, Earl. That's, I have a conversation with my nephew and my son, who was once now taking over the reins at North Village Patches deal, and I still think he's doing a wonderful job. So we're now on his fifth victory. Today was a difficult, I think, maybe the layoff, making adjustments, who plays where. He made adjustments in the midfield. North Village struggled today. They really did. They struggled. Trust me, but I just think they struggled today. The thing that I noticed about them is making adjustments with Jonte out, and with Jai Bean, and then you push Trey Mean up. What was evident today is that in the midfield area, they just looked like they were off today. But that happens if we're looking at teams like, don't forget, if you look at the Premier League now, Liverpool went and lost to Nottingham Forest. Look where they are now. Yeah. So those type of games, you have to accept the fact that you win today. It wasn't very good. I'm telling you, Patches, out for the game, I know he wasn't very happy. But with his personality, he accepted the fact that, yes, this is one is off day, but we still won. And it was very ugly. And the way they won. There were a lot of mistakes made. And so right now, when I speak about my nephew and coaching, and with my son, it talks about when you have to make these adjustments, how do you stay calm as a coach? What do you tell the players? Because, sometimes when you have free-flowing football, and what he said that he just lets the players play. But sometimes it doesn't always work out the way.
Right.
So, I just think that they just did enough to get by today. They did enough to get by today, which was good. And this is a sign of what you have to do as a coach.
Yes.
I still think that the goal that they conceded was a little bit in the last 3 minutes of the game.
Right.
They look very, very, he will have something to say about that. I'm sure about that. Just how easy it was for Wolves to get that goal. But overall, sometimes when you're in transition with a new coach, with the philosophy, that it helps that you can get by these games. You can get through these games. And those 3 points were vital today. So it puts pressure on PHC now against St. George's. So, I think Norfolk is in a transition period. I still think that they weren't the best, weren't the best at all today.
Right.
But again, it's a sign of someone who's going to be competing for the league title.
Right.
That you can play bad, you don't look good, you don't, you're your best, but you still come out and win.
Come out and get the 3 points. Yeah.
Yes.
Ultimately, that's the. I mean, if you look at it, ultimately that's the goal. But sometimes football ain't gonna be pretty. But if you come out with the 3 points, you're on to your next venture and you try to improve the performance. But as long as those 3 points keep coming, then I think that's where you have to start looking and saying, let's be consistent in getting the 3 points, and then let's work on the ability to look good getting 3 points.
Yeah, I think you're right. Make an adjustment with John T. Smith, which is he made a few adjustments in midfield areas and at the back. But there's also something that was very good today, having Detroit Bell back.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah. Not that Wolves were really good at finishing, but having Detroit Bell back in crucial moments of the game, where you have to have a good goalkeeper, and he was excellent today. And Detroit Bell was just very, very sound.
Right.
But again, at Norfolk is the coaching staff. I have to say also with Trey Mean and making the adjustments, because then Jai Bean takes over the role of Jonte, and then he puts Trey Mean up. And Trey Mean is such a brilliant footballer. He's just remarkable that this guy, his brain just keeps ticking. So again, Norfolk made the adjustment today. They again, didn't do well.
Right.
They didn't play really well. Trust me, they didn't play well.
Right.
And then, talking to him also, the training on limited source, the training area that they train in, what he wants to do in terms of set pieces and stuff like that, and those type of things. He says he can't do it because it's only limited to the space that he has to do it.
Right.
So again, I think that's a true sign of, again, a saying when you listen to another person like McKinney with, what's happening, Patches in charge, and they have my son Jamaico. They have formed a good partnership.
Right.
And relation to the players. The players are a lot more relaxed, even when they're playing there. So that was evident today.
Yeah, I guess we could turn the corner and talk about Wolves. Wolves would be in the same position that you were talking about in the pageant. You have to start looking at teams. Who can you beat? Where can you get a point? How can you get a point? I mean, they picked up a victory. They were on a run a couple of weeks back. They beat St. George's and those type of things. So when you start looking at at them, and they'll probably been brought back down to earth their last 2 games, but they have to sort of regroup and think collectively and say, okay, where is our next point coming from?
Well, this is what I find when I watch Wolves today, and it's the first time I watched them play. But after the first, the Norfolk goal was scored in the second minute. They never gave up. Right. They hustled, and for 35 minutes, the 30 minutes of the first half, they were in complete goal. They retained possession. They moved the ball well. what they lacked is finishing and quality up in the 18-yard box, right? The final pass. But what I liked about Wolves was that for most of the game, the work rate was tremendous. They just worked. They 50-50 balls. They won mostly 50-50 balls, right? They just lack. Let me see if I can say this. They if they had the same mentality, it's which with Manchester United today, right? If Wolves can adapt that concept like Ipswich, like, hey, listen, we're playing against this team here, but we're not going to concede. We're not, they conceded the first goal. But overall, they had they were really, really on top in a lot of phases of the game. But that's what the coaching staff had to deal with. I was very happy to see them. They play out the back. It's just the last half, the last third that they lack. They lack that.
Yeah. Now, let's quickly turn our attention to Hamilton Parish. Still celebrating their Dudley Eve win, but if you look at where they're standing in the Premier Division, they've played 6 games, drawn 1, lost 5, conceded 21 goals. They lost 5-0 to Devonshire Cougars today at Wellington Oval. Got to be a worrying time for Sergio. I mean, it's already been a worrying time. I mean, you put your Dudley Eve trophy. Do you bring it in the change room to give them some inspiration, or what do you do? Because right now things don't look good in the league.
No, they don't. No, they don't. I think last week we talked about that. Which team will survive? And both of them come from the final have done very bad. Look what happened to Paget, and look what's and look at Hamilton Parish, like 5-0.
Yes.
Wow. So, there are still questions about that team, right? That even though winning against Paget and winning that trophy, and I said this last week, who will be the better of it? Who will be the better of it? I thought Hamilton Parish would be able to turn this around. It's no way if you win a cup game 2-1. You have your isn't that's all that would do? It's no way you should be losing this game 5-0.
Right.
It's no way. And so, I mean, Sergio would have to think, okay, you got a cup, you won it, you didn't. That is over. That's done. That's we have what's next, and that's a very, very telling sign about what Hamilton Parish is doing.
Yeah.
It looks like I'm gonna tell you, Earl. If I was a betting man, if this was Vegas, BET betting 65. I just think that they're in a problem. They're ones that I could put down for relegation battle.
Yeah. I mean, last week we talked about the position that Kwame found himself in, but I mean, a big victory today, sort of pushes them up the leaderboard. Well, gets them to the 7-point mark, and is a confidence booster for a team like Devonshire Cougars.
Yeah, it is. It is. I just think that when they lost to North Village, really, you can see what Kwame is trying. You can see the concept that he has. His team keeps the possession well. The problem that he has, and I said that before against North Village, is the counterattack, how open they could be. You can play that good-looking football. You can play the football. It looks like, you have 10 passes, and then the finishing product. I think that today they're playing against a Hamilton Parish team, of course, is lacking depth, of course. I think, I said that Kwame is wearing 2 hats, but this result today is a morale booster. And I think the morale booster will be also how they won the game, how the 5 goals were scored. Because I know watching Devonshire Cougars play, they have a certain way they play. And it's really good to watch. But what's the end product, the result of that football? So, it's really something. It's not hard to understand, but I think eventually that result will help Devonshire Cougars mentally.
Yeah. Well, we're going to take our second commercial break, and when we come back, we're going to be joined by Kyle Lightbourne, the Dendy Town head coach. We'll be right back.
Over the pink sands, beneath the cloud blue sky. where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years, it's been clear, it's silence, proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
Just putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
The holidays are busy enough. Why not let Lindo's Drop It take a little off your plate? From St. Davis to Somerset, Drop It delivers from Lindo's straight to your door. It's easy, convenient, and leaves you with more time for friends and family. This season, let Lindo's Drop It make holiday shopping as effortless as the holidays should be. Order now and let us handle the rest. Lindo's, why go anyplace else?
And welcome back. And again, we are joined by the Dandytown head coach, Kyle Lightbourne. Kyle, first of all, welcome to the Island Stats Football Show. Since you've taken over at the Dandytown Hornets, what's been your biggest challenge with this team?
Yes, good evening, and thank you for inviting me. I would say biggest challenge is just getting that 100% commitment from the players. Wanting them to figure out, do they just want to play football or do they want to play to win? There's been, just really committing to the game. That's probably been my biggest challenge so far.
Yeah. If you evaluate your first 6 games, you got 3 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. If you were to evaluate those games, where would you say you are at as far as where do you really want to be?
If I put a scale of 1 to 10, I would say we're probably at 4.
Okay. Punchy, you want to jump in?
How you doing, Coach? How you doing? Glad for you to be on the show. I mean, spoken with you many times about your movement to Dandytown. The thing I want to ask you most of all, coming back to Bermuda and coaching in this country at the club level, the mentality of the players. Because I always thought you was going to have those type of problems at Dandytown. Is that a reflection of also Bermuda now? The mentality of the players, and then do you find, is that what you've been to? Because I know you told me that you set up a program. It's going to take you some time, but I always know that what would happen over there with you in charge. But do you find that a difficult challenge for you now back in this country, and especially at a club like Dandytown?
Yeah, I
what are
think
the challenges like that mentally for the players that you're trying to change?
I think it's across the board. Every club has these problems. I look at the players today. too many of them are overweight. They, it's just not good enough. You see them like they may play, they may look good in one team, but I know when I was growing up watching football in Bermuda, you never had people overweight playing football. They just weren't even allowed on the pitch, and we just allow that and things like that. It creeps in. You find that you have to play players that are not been training on a regular basis because people just eliminate themselves from the team, just not being available, things like that. Yeah, we're trying to sort all of that out. It's going to take some time. I think we're making baby steps. So saying that we only lost one game in the league, and that was to North Village, the league leaders. A game we could have gotten something out of on the day, but we just didn't manage to put the ball in back of the net. And we've let leads slip. And that just comes down to, not having, we've had players training, but not having everybody train at the same time. So the communication side of it can be a lot better. But to be honest, that break came for us at the
Okay, he's dropped out for a minute there, but
okay.
Okay, you're back. Yeah, but what if you can describe the difference between when you were coaching at PHC and now at Dandytown, because both clubs have rich history of winning titles, winning cups, winning. But what's the difference between the two clubs in your view?
Well, actually, when I first came back and coached PHC had a similar problem. Maybe not with, I would say, the players and attitudes and different things like that, but the lack of training, and it was there. And I can remember the turning point for us was the players were complaining about the referee, and I said, it's not the ref, it's more to us the lack of training. We could take the ref out of the equation, and once we turned that around and training became the number one priority, the results came.
Hey, Kyle, I'm so glad there's something you brought up that I have to really glad you brought up for conditioning in this country now. I watch most of the teams today, even if Norfolk players, and I watch all the players, Wolves players, and the first thing is so noticeable, the conditioning of players. And I remember when I was with Norfolk, and I remember what it used to be like. Run for your lives, as they say, if you want to play on this team. Run for your lives. Conditioning is very, very paramount, which is paramount to successful in terms of that you can play. You stay conditioned, you avoid injuries. And I keep saying that when we were Triple Crown champions, our conditioning was so good, right? This is a problem in this country, and I think it's also adds to the fact that when these players go to play for the national program, they're not in the right condition. They're not in the right condition. I think our country has decided also the philosophy of why it's so important for a country like Bermuda to have top, good physical condition players, even at the league level. And I don't see it now. So when I was talking to Mike Finley last week, what are the proponents of players being introduced to the national program? I think, and the reason I'm asking this question, I want you to answer it. I'm sorry, I'm not going on like, sir. Do we have a philosophy in this country that this country is going to be hard to beat? Because if you go to Bermuda, play against Bermuda players, condition-wise, you're going to have to fight for your life. Do you see that? Do you think that's going to be a proponent of our now generation of players?
Yeah, I mean, I think our players, like take for instance, when we made it to the Gold Cup, we put in a lot of work, fitness wise. I'm talking about the Gold Cup proper. Um, we put in a lot of work, fitness wise. I knew the players were fit enough to compete at international level, and then after we play League A, we get through those stages playing against Mexico and teams like that. And then when the cycle starts all over, some of the players were not interested in getting themselves back to that fitness level because they knew what it was going to take. And that's kind of disappointing because, at the end of the day, they have jobs, they have other things going on in their lives. So much going on right now in the everyday life compared to, you know, 20, 30 years ago is a total difference. But still, if we want to compete, the players have to do their part. They have to do their extras. They have to be able to, stay away from the drinking and all of that. The social lives doesn't help the conditioning as well.
Mm-hmm. We're coming up to the Christmas break of the season. We've got some more games to play. Where would you like to be as far as your team? You said you if you gauged them 1 through 10, you give them a 4. At the halfway mark, where would you like to be? 7, 6, 7 for commitment for the style of football you want to play? Where do you want to be?
Yeah, I think if we can get through this Christmas period, I would like to see us around the 8 mark. We had a great improvement in the last 3 weeks. When I spoke to my players 3 weeks ago, I gave us a 3 out of 10 in the rankings, and I know some people weren't happy that I said that, but it is what it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Um, I tell my players I'm there to win. We've given away too many leads. We're been in charge of games and we don't close it out. And it just, that all just comes back to the training ground.
Mm-hmm.
The question I want to ask you also, players in your team, like Tomiko Goda, what's your perception of him? I thought he was always going to be something he's one of the better technical players in the country. He's a wide player. He does. I was, he's not. When you watch him play, there's a lot of things about his game that are very technically sound. But what is your perception of Tomiko Goda in terms of, because it's not I always thought he'd be a pick for the national program also. What is your perception of him? And this is, it's not being personal, but it just, analyzing footballers in this country that the national program, Michael Finley said last week that he's looking forward.
Yeah, I mean, with Goda, Tomiko Goda, he has the ability, he has the technique, he is actually one that trains quite well. So he's putting in the work. He just has to take it upon himself to take it to the game, right to the field. I probably think he lets himself down in the finishing department where he could do a lot of good stuff, but he lets himself down with the finishing. I mean, last night he scored 2 goals. He stepped up, but that needs to be a regular. Where he was probably doing that 5, 6 years ago on a regular. Now he's becoming a senior player. He's the captain of the team. He needs to always lead by example. These are the type of players that need to give you a 7 out of 10 every week. You can't let your standards drop below that.
Yeah. Well, Kyle, I want to thank you very much for joining us this evening. We look forward to maybe you coming back sometime soon to give us an update on the Denver Town Hornets and how your season is progressing. We'll see how you go from here. I mean, you have a next few games are big ones for you. You've got
Yeah, we got a couple big games coming up as well.
Friday night you're out at the rack. You got Dandy Town.
No,
In your
we
next
have
game, so it's gonna be the dogfight starts.
yeah, we got Cougars twice in a row.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they changed that fixture because it wouldn't have been fair on either of the teams to play like Daventry Cougars played today, then turn around and play Tuesday, then Friday.
Right.
That didn't make no sense at all. So now they spread it out, and it's pretty much even now.
Yeah.
Then it's a PHC game. Yeah, then it's a St. George's match. So yeah, we got our work cut out for the next couple of weeks. But I must say before I go, with the Dandytown, I think the off field, the support team behind us has been fantastic. It's been first class from them. I've had the backing of everyone at Dandytown, and hopefully this project in a couple years' time, you see the fruits.
All right. Well done. Look forward to you. Thanks for joining. We're going to take our next commercial break and then come back. We'll jump into the first division results from this weekend. We'll be right back.
Thanks a lot, Kyle.
Over the pink sands, beneath the clear blue sky, where the ocean meets the land, and the long tails fly in Bermuda. Our hearts belong to this beautiful island. As an island, we are strong, proudly Bermudian. In every single way, from the sunrise to the sunset, and every single day, for over 135 years, it's been clear, nature silence proudly Bermudian, bringing us near. Cause we are proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian. Digital is proudly Bermudian.
It's that time again. The Bermuda FA Cup is coming up. Join us for a season of excitement, unity, and unforgettable games. Lindo's is thrilled to sponsor the Bermuda FA Cup, supporting a Bermudian tradition that brings us together. Come for the teams, stay for the atmosphere, and let's celebrate as a community. Lindo's, where football and family come together. Why go anyplace else?
Putting down the weapons.
You seeing this?
And welcome back. Well, midweek punchy. Vasco took on Southampton Rangers at the BAA Field. Vasco looking for their first victory of the season. Southampton Rangers looking for their second. And it was Vasco coming out with a 2-1 victory. They led 2-0 at the half and then held out. And Rangers scored, but they held them out and got their first victory of the season. Now they're on 4 points. Southampton Rangers, bottom of the table. Are you shocked?
Yeah, I'm very shocked. Well, yeah, I'm very shocked. I just say that Rangers and keep Jennings in charge. What's going on up there? What's going on up there, really? And it must not be too good, because look where they are in that division.
Yeah,
that ain't a hard division at all.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to find out exactly what and I think we talked about this a couple of you when you show first started about the direction of clubs, where they're going. Do they have a junior program? Where is Southampton Rangers really going?
Yeah.
And what is going on? We know what we talked about, where a lot of people leaving the country. Young players, do they have a good junior program out there? Do they have a good under 17 program out there? So, what is really Keith Jennings doing? What is he working with up there? And it's sad because at one time they were a powerhouse, even in the first division.
Yeah.
Look where they are now. And that's something that, again, another case study. Mama told you, I regard them as a Western team. Past PHC, they're a Western team. And look where they are.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's something not right up there with that club. There's something not right. And it's not been right for a long time with the footballing part of it.
So true. So true. Yeah. Yesterday at Lords and St. David's, we had second and third going up against each other with St. David's and Boulevard Blazers. Both teams are looking to probably leapfrog the league leaders in Crossroads, but in the end, it was a 2-2 draw. Crossroads still top of the table. They have 12 points. St. David's now have 11. Boulevard have 10. So I think it was a missed opportunity for both, but at the end of the day, I think both will walk off the field saying, okay, we're still in contention for that other promotion spot.
Yeah, so we're almost agreeing that Crossroads is going to probably win the league. I think so.
Well, yeah.
We'll totally agree with that. But the second in command, the second people, we're talking about Boulevard and
St. David's, and you got to throw
St.
Somerset.
David's. St. David's. Well, I think really, I'm looking at Boulevard, Somerset.
Right.
And there's a third one. Am I correct?
Well, for the other promotion spot?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's St. David's right now. St. David's in second.
Correct. St. David's in second. Then we're looking at.
I mean, if you look at it, Robin Hood's got so much stuff to clean up. Right now, I wouldn't even put them in the mix of.
No, I wouldn't. Neither would I. My thing is these two teams, Boulevard and St. David's, like Boulevard. Like I said, look, they go up to Somerset, they beat Somerset, and they're on this rule now. They drove St. David's down to St. David's. But if they're promoted, what's really the reality of it all? I think the most soundest team, first of all, we go back to Crossroads. Then you have these other three teams that could be there could be the possibilities of winning. Somerset is definitely in. I put Somerset definitely in.
Okay.
But then you have the Boulevards. And then we're looking at, well, what's the future of the Boulevard? Like, okay. And, they're going from the heydays of Andrew and David and when they, Stephen, Roy Stevens, they were just a great team. Look what's happened to them now. I don't see with Boulevard, even if they are promoted, will sustain themselves. I don't see that.
Yeah.
Now, with Crossroads, with this coach that's here, there's a real possibility they will sustain themselves if they're promoted. Somerset will, again, is questionable. Still questionable.
Right.
But I look at it at the end of the season, I think Somerset and a guarantee. I think they will get past this. They will get through. And I think Crossroads a good shot for this.
Talking about Somerset, they closed the gap. They're now on 9 points after their 5-2 win over Somerset Eagles today. The first half of that match, they had 5 goals. It was 3-2 to Somerset Trojans at the end of the first 45 minutes. Somerset Eagles actually had the lead. They scored early. But Somerset Trojans would take control of the game in the first half to lead 3-2, and then score 2 goals in the second half with Taj Wade getting a hat trick. So he's now moved. Gone are the days where he had been at Somerset Trojans, went over to Island Rangers, and now he's back at Somerset Trojans, and he looks like he's enjoying his football again. Not saying he didn't enjoy it at Island Rangers, but he has a lot to offer as an experienced player, and helping out where he can at Somerset. I think they will be that other team chomping at the bit for that other promotional spot right behind Crossroads.
Yeah, for sure. But again, if they're promoted, what is next for them? And I keep we're talking in terms of, okay, a year from now,
Right.
you get promoted. What's next? Recruitment. What's the quality up there?
Right.
So we're looking at, look what's happened to Paget. What's really disturbing? Look, are they so similar to the Hamilton parishes? Because when you start really looking at it, Earl, those are the type of teams like what we're talking about, Somerset, right?
Right.
Do like in terms of they're still a growing club of all these years. They still look like there's something not right with them in terms of when the young players get them to the senior team. What is their intent? Like, what's their intention? Okay, so now we get promoted. Like I said about Paget, simmer. Let's just sustain ourselves. Let's see if we get recruitment, because that's what they need. They need better players. As Somerset is going to be, if they get promoted, then they got to play away to Northwich next year. They got to go play against PHC. The PHCs, they got to play against the Derbyshire Colts.
Yes.
That's difficult. And it's a perfect example for Social Club. Quality. Quality. Somerset, I think they will get promoted. What's next for them in the new year? What's really, in terms of, and who are, when you watch them play, who are the better players? It'll be interesting. What I'm interested in, when the FA Cup is showing, Northwich, but when we get the FA Cup, so Somerset will get pitted against a top,
Well, I can
give
you the FA Cup draw. Actually, hold on a sec. They had the FA Cup draw. I know they had the Friendship. Yes, they had the FA Cup draw. Hold on a sec. Let me see if I can just find it. But we can continue the conversation while I look for that. Because I know North Village got Devonshire Colts in. Okay, yeah, North Village got Devonshire Colts
in the Friendship, right?
In the Friendship and in the FA, I believe. Okay, here we go. In the FA Cup, Somerset beat Robin Hood and will now host PHC Zebras. So they'll get a taste of what that premiership will be like.
Exactly.
Once they settle. Now, interestingly enough, Crossroads got Young Men's Social Club. They play them at Police Field in the FA Cup.
Well, I ain't gonna go on about that, but I ain't gonna go on that. Some song for certain boys in blue. I'm gonna tell you that now. I'm gonna say that now. I'm gonna say that off the cuff. But anyway, again, we're talking about the FA Cup, just like Paget years ago. Now they're up, and you see where they're going. That loss for Paget, and I keep saying these new clubs like the Pagets, the Social Club, but I think Social Club is definitely heading downward. They're on the downward spiral right now, definitely.
Right.
But it don't get no easier for them. The hard work, the hard work, like I said, at the beginning of the season, they beat North Village. Now look at the statistics. They held steady for a while. But I think a team like Somerset, it's going to be now in Bermuda, it's going to be the same thing. You're looking at the teams that are going to Derbyshire Girls, North Village, and PHC. And Dennytown. Of course, Dennytown. There's 4 teams that are always going to sustain themselves. Then we look at the rest. St. George's, which is it's like they're going through a rebuilding process again.
Right.
And then you look at the Pagets. Then we start going to the Pagets. Let's not. I'm sorry about that. I'm not trying to be biased, but Devonshire Colts. Now, I think with Ray Jones has proven that with what he has, he's doing a very good job. So we're going to put in equations for also sustainability. I call it sustainability clubs that can sustain themselves over years. And so we're talking about 5 of them then now. Yeah. And so the rest are just the ones that come in and play and survive. And I think Somers is part of that. Crossroads, if promoted, will be part of that. Social Club is always going to be promoted. Wolves are going to not sustain themselves. They do a very good job today, but I don't think they're going to sustain themselves in this, with that loss today. That was a very hurting loss for Wolves today. They played well. But then we're talking about, let's see who else we're talking about in that league. Denny Town, we're going to start putting Denny Town now up there now. So we're talking about 6 clubs. So then we're talking about the last 4. There's Paget, Social Club. Right? And those are the type of teams, Paget, Social Club. Exactly. And are we also putting St. George's in that? I don't think St. George's is in that.
Right. Well, I mean, they're putting themselves in it because they're struggling right now. They're literally struggling right now.
They are.
I know what you was about to say. They have some quality players, but it looks as if they're not playing as a team right now, and that's what's hurting them.
Yeah, and that's the young coach, Bascom, he's a young coach. And you're talking about having these quality players that, without Jonte is the only one that's really, we're having not Jonte, but there was other quality that was really the whole brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Najai Tucker. And so who plays for the national team? And they have 2 national team players.
Yeah.
So St. George's, on any given day, I think St. George can beat anybody. I just don't think that the philosophy of what Oronde Bascom is doing down there, it's not working. I don't think it's going to work. I maybe I'm wrong. I don't think it's working right now. And I think he has to earn respect. He's younger than some of those players.
Yeah.
So that's the problem for St. George's. That's the question. Yeah. So we're looking at those teams. We're talking about Paget, the Social Club. It's going to be tight at the top. So Devon Sculpture is going to roll. I'm telling you, it's going to be tight at the top. What I do know is that at the bottom, Paget and Social Club have got to pull the socks up, or I just think I can say that the company Social Club are going to be demoted. Paget, I could put it. Yeah. I think the next team that I'm thinking about is going to be Paget. Antoine Scotty. And then we're talking about Hamilton Parish. So we're talking about those other teams too. Those are 3. Out of those 3, I'm going to put let me see. I think Hamilton Parish could be it.
Okay. And you're leaving Wolves out. You're leaving Wolves out.
I think Wolves are going to, like what I saw today is like,
you think they
can get the mental game together.
Right.
They could just hang in there and beat a lot of teams. What I was so happy about with Wolves, and I'm saying this, sir, and I'm keep going on about them, is that they were very aggressive. They never gave Norfolk time the ball. They won 50-50. If I had to chart it, I would think possession-wise, they had, let's say, 60% of the possession-wise.
Mm-hmm.
What they lack is organization at the back, right? And some bad behavior, just mental lapses with the players, with the individual players. And you wouldn't want to see how the second goal, the penalty. You won't believe it. Anyway, I saw that, it was like, wow. Anyway, so that's what I'm talking about. Wolves. I think Wolves have got it. This year. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into our picks from the last time we done them was the FA Cup, right?
Right.
Which we saw Tough Dogs and Vasco. We both took Tough Dogs, and we were both correct. And then we had St. David's versus the FC Rhinos. We both took St. David's, and that was correct. It was Crossroads against Somerset Eagles. We both took Crossroads. That was correct. And then it was Boulevard versus Robin Hood, and we both took Boulevard. And again, we were correct. We were 4 for 4.
Yeah.
In that regard. So now let's take a look at the matches coming up this week in the Premier Division. We're going to start with Friday night's match. It's Devonshire Cougars hosting Dandy Town Hornets. Devonshire Cougars are coming off this 5-0 victory. Dandy Town are coming off a 4-1 victory. You know what? I'm gonna take Dandy Town because Devonshire Cougars' form at home hasn't been that good, and I think until I see some change at their home base, I'm gonna go against them at home. So I'm gonna take Dandy Town for this game.
Yeah, I am too. I will too. And on that reason why is that, like I said, I think Carl Lightburn in these type of games will get things right. It will take time. And then you got Mr. Hayward there also, Drew Hayward. So it's only a matter of time. They're not been, like I said, what Carl was telling us, they're not been out of even against North Village, none have been out of it. It's just that there's a lot of things that he's trying to fix mentally there. But Denny Town, I think, are going to be a force to reckon with for this year. And I think Denny Town will win this game on Friday night.
Then we have, this should be a very interesting matchup, Wolves versus Hamilton Parish. Not sure where this game is going to be because it was scheduled for Bernard Park, but we have to wait to see where it's being rescheduled to. But Wolves versus Hamilton Parish.
Let me go first. I'm picking Wolves for this, just by what I saw displayed today.
Yeah,
I think there was some behavior that's questionable when I say to the mental. If they can have a better mental approach to the game, Wolves will be fine. They won't be relegated. I just think that in these games, they're capable of beating teams. Really are. They have a work rate is I was like, whoa. So if they can be mentally stronger in areas that need to be, when things are going well for them, just stay calm, stay mentally strong. But I think Wolves will beat this game. Wolves will beat Hamilton Parish.
I think Wolves will go wherever this game is. I think Wolves will go with the confidence that they can beat Hamilton Parish. Hamilton Parish right now psychologically are not having a good time playing football in the league, and I think if Wolves come with the right temperament and the right attitude, I think they can get the better of it. So I'm going to go with Wolves as well. Yeah, and then we go Young Man Social Club are taking on PHC at Police Field. I'll go first, and I'm going to take PHC in this one. I think PHC have learned their lesson after losing to Devonshire Colts up at Police Field. I don't think they'll go back up there and take anybody for granted. They'll have to put their foot down if they want to stay in this title race. Yeah,
I'm gonna go with you too. I think the bottom's falling on the Social Club.
Yeah,
it's gonna, and like I said, it's gonna, when you continuously start losing like that, they start off really well. You see them, I think they won 2 or 3 games this year. So, But damn, this what happens. Sustainability, I call it. How do you, just sustain yourself in these type of games that you need to say, okay, let's just get a draw. Let's just hang in there.
Right.
But I don't think Social Clubs, PH is definitely going to win this game. Yeah. Definitely.
Next game, an interesting matchup. Paget Lions host North Village Rams up at Southampton Oval. You're up first.
Well, I'm going to say this here. That's going to be a real test for North Village again, mentally wise. I'm picking North Village to win this, right? I'm picking North Village to win this. I think they'll pick themselves up. The right things will be said this week in training in terms of what they will look like against Wolves today. They weren't very good, but they managed to win. Now against Paget, because who that's going to be a difficult game. But I still think they could come out in terms of class-wise. I think Norfolk will come out of this game and win this game up against Paget.
Yeah. I'm going to go with you with North Village winning, but I do want to offer some ray of hope to Paget. They have some good players in their team. They just need to play as a team for 90 minutes, and I think that's where they'll benefit in the end. But I won't be this coming Sunday against North Village. I give North Village the edge to win this game. Hands down. And then the final Premier Division game of the weekend, it's going to be at Wellington Oval, where St. George's Colts will take on Devonshire Colts. I think right now St. George's is still on a fact-finding mission of finding out who's going to take the lead for them, who's going to be the standout person, who's going to take charge on the field. As you've already indicated, they have 2 national team players, but the cast around them have been struggling. So I'm gonna actually take Devonshire Colts for this game.
That's a tricky one. I think, again, having someone in charge with such this abundance of talent that's in Georgia's, the camaraderie seems not to be there between the players, and that's up to the coach. You see them lose to Wolves, I believe. Wolves beat them.
Yep.
But I think sometimes it could be turned around. It could be turned around, and maybe this might be against Devonshire Colts. I'm gonna go with St. George's to win this.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Now let's look into the first division. Boulevard take on Vasco. That's at BAA Field on Thursday night. So you're up for that.
Yeah, I'm putting Boulevard in this already. They always set a turn right now. Boulevard will beat Vasco.
Yeah.
They got the players. I'd say a typical Boulevard performances. When it's needed, they have these players again.
Yeah.
Mentally wise, the players, can they adapt to? They will beat Vasco,
Right.
but I'm going with Boulevard for that. But again, I don't want to look too far here for Boulevard. But it's very important that they sustain that. We always talk about Boulevard too. They have quality down there.
Yeah.
They have quality, but again, in Boulevard is similar to Wolves. Quality, but mental approach to
right.
Mental approach to the game.
Well, I know Vasco will be on a high after beating Southampton Rangers in their last outing, which was a night game. They'll want to replicate that against a team like Boulevard, but I think Boulevard right now are riding high, 3rd place in the league. They will want to, stay in that promotional battle. Try to stay ahead of Somerset, and the only way to stay ahead of Somerset is by winning games and hoping that Somerset drop points. But and they're neck and neck, right behind St. David's. So when you're taking on teams that are near the bottom of the table, you gotta convincingly, do what you gotta do to make sure you get those 3 points. So I'm gonna take Boulevard for that game as well. And then Robin Hood face Somerset Trojans. I'm going to take Somerset Trojans for this game again, because if you look at Robin Hood, are still trying to find themselves. Secoy's playing, Tyron Mendes is playing, two outstanding players, but again, the cast around them, are they understanding what their rules are to get them by? And I think Somerset now will want to stamp their case on that other promotional spot and keep tight with the Crossroads and the St. David's and the Boulevard. So I'm going to take Somerset for this game.
I am too. I agree with you wholeheartedly. Somerset's got a lot more incentive. Robin Hood is rebuilding on the Sequoia. The attempt is, what is the intentions for Robin Hood in terms of where they're going to be going. I just think that Somerset have what they want to achieve is more important than I'm not saying Robin Hood don't want to gain promotion, but for Somerset, they're still Silver City. So I'm going with Somerset for that to win this.
Sure. And then the last first division match of the weekend will be at Southampton Oval, where Southampton Rangers will entertain Crossroads.
You want to go with that first?
Yeah, you can. Well, I already put us both down for Crossroads.
Yeah, I know you did. I don't want to be, I have this thing, seriously, I'll just tell you, again, let's discuss it, and it's very important to discuss when we go off, Earl. If Keith Jennings up there, what is perspective of what are the intentions of Southampton Rangers? and then you have I forget his name I forget his name. That's Donnie Crosswoods. He comes back up a couple of years. Look what he's transformed. So this is a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
I don't think the direction of Southampton Rangers, they don't have no direction. And I think that's the frustrating thing for Keith Jennings is that, like, okay, Keith, what you doing? What's your junior program? I don't think Crossroads I think Crossroads have a junior program. I know they do.
Yeah, they have
So
quite a bit. Yeah.
the other thing, the philosophy of Crossroads, if you're winning like this, scoring 12, 11 goals, it ain't no way all of a sudden you're going to drop your guard. So, this is just, I think Crossroads is going to go up there and win comfortably. And that tells you about someone who went to England, the coach of Crossroads, what he done before he left. And his coaching style compared to Keith Jennings and what he has to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So he's come back and transferred Crossroads again into a very formidable team in that division. Yeah. And so, I picked Crossroads hands down for this game. Hands down.
Me as well. Well, next week, Punchy, we're gonna get back into the players of the week. I have a list of the last few weeks of players we can name as players of the week and background. We just didn't get to it this evening, but we will get back into that next week. So I want to thank you for joining again this evening. Should be a very interesting week of football, and we'll see who we can get to join us next week and talk about their team and their season thus far. All right.
Okay.
Have a good night. Thank you, folks, for joining.
Okay.